Hi, this is Dr. Padma Garvey. Today I'm going to be talking to you about puberty, menstruation, and menopause, and trying to define what's normal. Anthropologist Dr. Barbara Strassman from the University of Michigan has spent her career studying menstruation and reproduction. One of the questions that she asked was, what is normal? Humans have not changed much over the past 10 to 20,000 years. The bodies we're walking around in today are ideally suited for the Ice Age or early farming era. This actually explains a lot of our major chronic health problems. Dr. Strassman spent a great deal of time studying societies who have remained unchanged for the past 1,000 years. One such community is the Dogon, who live in Western Africa. Strassman observed the Dogon society extensively. One of their customs is to have a special house for menstruating women. Dogon women would stay in the house apart from their families and community for the duration of their menses. As a result of the Dogon's custom, Dr. Strassman was able to keep detailed records of menstrual cycles on the Dogon women over a long period of time. She found that the average age of the first period was 16. Now, think about that for a second. In the United States, around the 1900s, the average age of the first period was about 15. By the 1950s, it was about 13 to 14. And today, the average age of the first period is around 11 to 12, with some girls getting it as early as 9. In addition, the average Dogon woman had about 8 children, and she nursed each of these children for about 2 to 4 years. And for much of the nursing period, she did not have any menses. Menopause occurred at age 50. The average age of menopause in America is 52, which means that many American women continue to menstruate into their mid to late 50s. Given all of this, the average Dogon woman had about a quarter of as many menstrual cycles as a typical Western woman. Biologically speaking, then, it seems as though our bodies are actually designed for prolonged periods of hormonal constancy and not the up-down hormone surges of menstrual cycles. The more menstrual cycles a woman has, the higher her chances of uterine fibroids, endometriosis, uterine cancer, ovarian cancer, and breast cancer. Now, hormone physiology is complicated, and so what I'm going to be describing is a very simplified version of it. In a normal menstrual cycle, the first half of it is all about estrogen. And estrogen promotes growth. It promotes growth of breast tissue. It promotes growth of uterine lining. So the first half of the menstrual cycle is all about estrogen, and estrogen promotes growth. The second half of the menstrual cycle is all about progesterone. And progesterone causes maturation. It stops the growth of cells and allows them to mature and stabilize. So progesterone stops the growth of breast tissue. It stops the growth of the uterine lining. It causes these tissues to mature and stabilize. So the menstrual cycle is this sequence of fluctuating hormones. Estrogen first, promoting growth. Progesterone second, stabilizing. When it comes to sex hormones, especially estrogen and progesterone, when they are secreted in small bursts, they actually work better at doing what they're supposed to do. Also, when estrogen and progesterone are both secreted at the same time, then the progesterone blocks the estrogen from working. So during a menstrual cycle, the levels of these hormones are much lower than what they are during pregnancy, and they're not secreted together, but sequentially. When a woman is pregnant, her estrogen and progesterone levels are very high they do not fluctuate, and because they're both being secreted at the same time, the effects of the estrogen are negated. Now, when a woman is nursing, her estrogen and progesterone levels are very low, do not fluctuate. When estrogen and progesterone fluctuate like they do during a menstrual cycle, the fluctuations cause them to stimulate their receptors, it encourages growth and then maturation. Now, birth control pills and Depo-Provera, these contraceptives help prevent fibroids, endometriosis, uterine and ovarian cancer, because the high dose of hormones is like that of pregnancy and there's no fluctuation. There are IUDs available now that introduce a concentrated amount of progestin to the lining of the uterus, preventing it from growing. I'm going to take a quick break here for some acknowledgments. The music for my podcast is courtesy of bensound.com. Please check out my website, www.drpadmagavey.com, drpadmagarvey.com, for recipes and more podcasts. You can also check out my YouTube channel. And as always, my podcasts are available on iTunes and Podcast Source under Dr. Mom. There is no link between contraceptive usage and breast cancer. Breast cancer rates are higher in women with longer reproductive lifespans, early puberty and later menopause, and in women who haven't breastfed. Breast cancer rates are also higher in Western women, and there is ample evidence that a high saturated fat, high protein diet plays a role. One reason why our reproductive lives have widened in the West with earlier puberties and later menopauses is because of the saturated fat in our diets. Given that Americans are eating more meat, dairy, and fat than ever before, our children have higher body fat indices than before. Body fat triggers puberty. The problem is that we are increasing our children's risk for future health problems and cutting their youth short. Overweight perimenopausal women are at increased risk for uterine cancer because not only the ovaries, but fat cells also make estrogen. If you are overweight, then even though your ovaries may have stopped working, your fat cells keep stimulating the lining of the uterus because of their estrogen production. The problem is fat cells don't make progesterone, so there's nothing stopping the estrogen from promoting growth. There has been a debate in medicine about whether or not menopause is a normal condition or does it need to be medically managed. When hormone replacement therapy was popular, one of the reasons was the assumption that menopause is a state of existence that evolution did not intend. Doctors assumed that women were never designed to live past reproductive years and that modern menopausal women needed hormone replacement therapy to manage their bodies. This idea was challenged. First, the Dogon life expectancy is 60, so Dogon women live at least 10 years into menopause. And the major cause of death is malaria and infectious diseases, not cancer, heart disease, and other chronic illnesses. I suspect that if we could eradicate malaria and other infectious diseases, the Dogon women would live much longer. So we need to explain why women would be meant to live a significant portion of their lives in menopause. What's the evolutionary advantage to that? Again, some perspective helps. Childbirth was very dangerous in the past. And if your mother died in childbirth trying to deliver a younger sibling and you were one of the children left behind, your chances of survival increase greatly if you had a surrogate mother, a grandmother, for instance, to take care of you. Hence, there is an evolutionary advantage to having a grandmother. to having a woman who survived childbirth and was able to continue living a significant chunk of her life in menopause so that she could be around to take care of you in case you needed it. Now, those listening to this podcast probably don't belong to the Dogon tribe, but understanding what's normal helps us make choices. Hot flashes, vaginal dryness, bladder irritation are very common symptoms of menopause. Eating a diet rich in phytoestrogens like those found in yams, sweet potatoes, and tofu can help somewhat. Women are destined to undergo a predetermined number of hot flashes. It's luck of the draw whether you have a lot or little to experience. Taking hormone replacement therapy, which I don't recommend because of its increased risk for breast cancer, stroke, heart attack, and blood clot, taking hormone replacement therapy only delays when you experience your hot flashes. The minute you stop your hormone replacement therapy, you will go right back to having however many hot flashes you are destined to have. Vaginal dryness and bladder spasming can be dealt with using silica-based lubricants or oils like coconut oil. For those women who are still experiencing problems, prescription strength vaginal estrogen is actually a safe and effective option when used as prescribed. I hope this podcast has helped you in making choices with regards to your diet, your children's diet, your contraceptive concerns, and issues and questions regarding menopause. Thank you.